Welp, the video hit 3,000 likes, which means I have to do what I must do. I gotta do what I promised. I said if we reach 3,000 likes, the beard would be shaved. So, without further ado, mustaches don't count, right? Because that was the one request of my girlfriend, is keeping some facial hair, so the mustache can stay, right? Are you all proud of yourselves? Are you happy you did this to me? Truth be told, it's my fault. I made the deal. Onward to the video. NetherRealm finally dropped the newest patch for Mortal Kombat 1. And it's disappointing, to say the least. We were told this update would be exciting, and that's word for word, by the way. Straight from Twitter via NetherRealm, we were told it would be an exciting update, which made me think that maybe a new game mode was coming, or at least a big meta change, right, in how Mortal Kombat played. So for example, a new defense option, or maybe a new way to build meter, something to mix the meta up a little bit. Because Mortal Kombat X did something similar, along with Mortal Kombat 11, but to a lesser degree. Even so, it's common for NetherRealm to end these games with a big change that mixes things up, and this update was not that. However, there is going to be more updates in the future. This is not the final one, so keep that in mind. And real quick, to summarize things for people who don't want to watch the entire video, at least not right away, here's a quick summary of the patch and its biggest changes. As mentioned earlier, no big meta changes or new game modes, only buffs and nerfs for the characters, including the cameos. Some top tier characters were nerfed, Cyrax and Homelander, along with some top cameos too, like Tremor and Movado. And the Tremor nerfs were deserved. He was way too strong. The Movado nerfs also kinda deserved, but it's gonna upset way more people because tons of players like using Movado, and he straight up got nerfed. No buffs, no bursts, alright? Straight up nerf. But to make matters worse, none of the bottom tiers got any buffs, only the mid tiers, ironically enough. Unless you count Shang Tsung and Quan Chi, who are technically lower mid tier or low tier depending on who you ask. But I don't think anyone considers them the bottom tiers. Regardless, they got some buffs, so that's nice. But Tanya and Peacemaker, the true bottom tiers, got nothing. Then you have Omni-Man, who got the most boring buff of all time. No new moves or abilities, nothing like that. Instead, he got this tiny buff on screen, which is nothing incredible. In fact, this might go down in history as one of the lamest buffs in history. However, for some good news, cameos got some buffs, right? Goro now has the most damaging throw in the game, and Stryker recovers quickly now, which means his crazy combos are more common. You can do it more often. And one more neat thing about the cameos is their wake-ups got better. Not for every cameo, but for a decent amount. They now have better wake-ups that can get the opponent off you, which is a great change, honestly, and I wish every cameo character got this because that would have been a meta change, which is what I wanted to see. Everyone knows Mortal Kombat 1 has too much offense and not enough ways to deal with it defensively. In other words, we need more defensive options, and some cameo characters give you that now if you use them, like Frost for example, which is definitely a step in the right direction, but why not do it for every cameo? I wish NetherRealm had done something big like that. Alright everyone, that's the quick spark notes of the update, but honestly a lot of characters got touched and there's tons of cool stuff to cover in this video. I just wanted to hit the main stuff right away. But for example, Li Mei got a cool buff that I really like. Havoc got a nerf that I think is fair, but some people are freaking out about. So without any further ado, let's cover these changes in detail, and every now and then I'll throw some gameplay footage on screen if necessary. But alright, here we go. A big shout out to Ice Cream for posting the patch notes early, even before NetherRealm, and yes, this update is already live. If you hop on Mortal Kombat 1 right now, you can test these out. So alright, here we go. First up is Ashura. Absolving a sin with heaven attacks does 30 damage instead of 20. So yeah, a little damage buff, nice. Next up is Havoc, who caught some nerfs. The first hit of Flesh Wound now hits mid instead of overhead, and the second hit is now overhead was mid. Yeah, this change upset a lot of people because it means Havoc can't do his cheap low overhead mix anymore, but he still has mixes, that's the thing. He still has the unblockable mix and the low mix, just not that one overhead mix, which I personally don't think is a huge deal. In fact, if I could nerf the character myself, I would have done something similar to this, because Havoc already has incredible damage, really good range, he doesn't need the best mix-ups too. Oh, and tons of health. Not enough people talk about that. Havoc has really high health in this game. Alright, increased combo damage scaling after Scab Stab. For anyone not aware, that means the combo after will do less damage overall. More combo scaling means less combo damage. Last but not least, destroying balance, recovery on block and miss has been increased by 7 frames, which means this move is now easier to punish. Next up is Kenshi. Heightened senses can now be special cancelled. That's neat, more combo options, more pressure, right? More mix-ups on block. And Impaler, away back punch and Sento stance recovers 7 frames faster. That's good. Less frames on recovery is great. It means the move is harder to punish. Next up is Li Mei, and I like these changes. Calculated, back kick, front kick, back kick recovers 7 frames faster on hit, which means more options afterwards, better pressure, and possibly new combo routes too, but I'm not certain on that topic. But here's the really cool one. Sky Lantern, when detonated, now hits overhead, was mid. Yeah, that's kinda cool. The exploding lanterns now hit overhead instead of mid. I love that change. Alright, next up is Liu Kang. Punishing Palm can now be special cancelled, which is something. I think Liu Kang deserved a little bit more. He's kind of a bland character right now with not too much creativity, so I think he needs more in the future. Rain, the water beam and enhanced water beam starts up 3 frames faster. That's good. Rain's a bit better of a zoner now. With that said though, he's still slow, like one of the slowest characters in the game, so maybe that could get buffed in the near future. Reptile, Dr. Reckle and the Neat Trick are no longer more negative when flawless blocked. That's a good thing. Reptile has less gaps. Fantastic. I love when the mid tiers get buffed, and I hope Honeybee likes this change. It's nothing crazy, but I think it's a good change. Hopefully Sub-Zero can get something new in the future, because he still has tons of gaps too. Alright, Shang Tsung, one of the few low tiers to get buffed. Knee Reverser now recovers 3 frames faster. That's good, harder to punish. And Spin Kick can now be special cancelled and does 50 damage instead of 70. So a damage nerf, but you can special cancel it now, which means more combos, more mixes, all that stuff. Because don't forget, special cancel also means cameo abilities too. So if your cameo has overhead or low mixes, then there you go, it's a new mix-up opportunity. Next up is Quan Chi. I hate this character, but he does deserve buffs. Psycho Skull and Enhanced Psycho Skull starts up 5 frames faster. Oh boy, better zoning. Sorcerer Smack has 2 more frames of block stun. That's good, good change. Bow already has 5 more frames of hit stun. That's gonna be great for pressure and offense, and also could mean more special moves cancel into it. Someone test that for me. Best Foot Backward now hits overhead instead of mid and had its region adjusted, so it's better at hitting the opponent, most likely. They can't avoid it by crouching. That's good. Overall, I'm not sure how good these changes are for Quan Chi because I never really play him, but I'm glad he got some buffs. Next up is Omni-Man with the lamest buff in history. Earthquake Stomp second hit has 5 more frames of block stun. Yippee. It's so random. Alright, Ermac, behind you releases the opponent 10 frames sooner. This might actually be a big nerf, because for anyone not aware, behind you is what makes Ermac's loops possible with Janet Cage and specific other cameos. So with this frame decrease, are those loops gone? Does Ermac no longer have his crazy loops anymore? That would be crazy if so. Next up is Homelander, increased combo damage scaling after Vought Drop, the 7 Slam, and See No Evil, which as mentioned earlier, increased combo scaling means the combos do less damage after these moves, and these moves in general also do less damage typically. Alright, Conan fixed a rare issue that could cause Barbarian's Blitz and Barbarian's Blade to sometimes not hit correctly in trade situations. Barbarian Blitz and Barbarian's Blade recover 5 frames faster on hit and miss. That's really good. Atlantean Bulwark 4th hit has 7 more frames of hit advantage. That's going to be great for setups. I'm wondering if he can stance into command grab after that. And also possibly better special cancels, because some special moves are too slow to combo naturally, but with more hits done, they could actually work now. In other words, all of these are buffs. Conan got buffed, which is interesting because some players like Ninja Killer are already winning tournaments with Conan. Alright, next up is T1000, who caught only nerfs. Multi-planar Laceration, 3rd hit now hits mid, was an overhead, so the mix-up is gone, and increased combo scaling after Liqueform Suplex and Nasal Pierce, which once again means less damage in the combo overall, so T1000 caught only nerfs. Which on the one hand is fair, but as you're about to see, Cyrax did not get too crazy of nerfs in my opinion. So speaking of Cyrax, Capture Foam is now destroyed when hit by other projectiles. So if Cyrax freezes you in the green foam and one of your projectiles hits it, you're actually free, I guess, which is interesting, but not the nerf I would have done. I would have nerfed the command grab and the throw. If Cyrax is throwing you in any way when the bombs go off, she should fall down too, not just get knocked backward and keep the combo going. She should fall down so she can't keep the combo going after the command grab grab. That's unfair to me. But that's just me. Here's the official changes. Close, mid, and far bomb build less meter when performed and do less damage when blocked. Bomb mist walk builds less meter when performed and does less damage when blocked. So yeah, the bombs do less chip damage now and don't build as much meter, which is good, but Serena already builds your meter for you and can drain the opponent's meter. In fact, Cyrax can drain the opponent's meter too. So overall, I'm not sure how big these nerfs really are. I think the command grab should have been nerfed. Alright, next up is Sector. Air Burst Grenade no longer builds meter on miss. That's a good change. For anyone watching who's not aware, lots of Sector players would jump backwards and just fire that move over and over again, which was great zoning and built meter the entire time. It was stupid. Air Burst Grenade damage is 50, it was 60, so a damage nerf. Air Burst Grenade and Air Enhanced Burst Grenade do less damage when blocked, fantastic. Flamethrower does 30 damage on the first hit instead of 50, and 50 damage on the second hit instead of 30. So this change is interesting because overall the Flamethrower does the same damage unless you stop it short, which players do with Motaro, right? Next up is Enhanced Flamethrower. The first hit does 50 damage instead of 90, and the second hit does 50 damage instead of 30. So the same situation. Overall, the Flamethrower does the same damage unless you interrupt the second hit. And that's it for the main characters. Next up is the cameos, but real quick, my thoughts on the main characters. I like a lot of these changes. I think they're a step in the right direction. However, they also feel like baby steps, and I wish NetherRealm did something more extreme in this update, because we got told it would be exciting, and I'm not really hyped right now. But alright, the cameo characters. Frost, Ice Crash now has 23 frames of invincibility on Wake Up instead of 11. So that's double, pretty good. This move can now be used to get the opponent off of you in a pinch, which is good because I think tons of casual players still don't know that cameos have invulnerability on certain moves. Instead, tons of players are stuck using enhanced attacks to get armor on their main character, but you don't have to do that. The cameos are invincible too on certain moves to get the opponent off of you. Next up is Darius. The last hit of Twisted Kicks is no longer more negative when flawless blocked, that's good. And the Twister Kicks now has 29 frames of invulnerability instead of 11. That's a big window, so Darius is a good defensive pick now to get people off of you. And that's not actually it, there is a part 2. One second here, where is part 2? Alright, here it is, Jax. Adjusted hit region of ground pound resulting in significantly increased range, so that's kind of a stealth nerf, but it was rare. Also fixed a rare issue that could cause ground pound to work improperly if an opponent Shang Tsung was interrupted out of a cameo copy, so that's very specific, but it's been fixed. Goro, this change is kind of big. His forward throw now does 150 damage. That means that Goro has the highest damaging throw in the game right now. Next up is Striker. Low grenade toss, high grenade toss, and full auto refill rates increase after use. That's a big change because Striker gets good combos off all 3 of these. Full auto is the craziest move he has right now. With certain characters like Scorpion, he gets like 50-60% damage off 1 bar with this move. It's insane. And it looks like NetherRealm said, yeah, more of that. And I'm wondering if Super is to blame for this. Alright, next up is Sector. Alternate Fatal Blow attack now hits high instead of mid and can no longer angle downward. Oof, that's a pretty decent nerf. The opponent can now duck this move, so make sure you combo into it or punish their move with this move. Don't do it raw, they can duck it. Scorpion. Hellblade's refill rate slightly increased after use and recovers 3 frames faster on block, so not punishable. Fantastic, hallelujah. Sub-Zero. Arctic Armor can now absorb infinite hits, up from 4. Alright, fantastic buff. Cold Shoulder now has 23 frames of invulnerability instead of 11, so again, a great get off me tool. I'm not sure why only certain cameos got these buffs, but here we are. Next up is Movado, who caught a nerf. Best feet forward and nin drop refill rates decreased after use. Ugh, yep, so we can't use these moves as often, which is a shame, but I understand why NetherRealm did it. Way too many people are relying on Movado. Alright, last but not least, we have Tremor, who caught a pretty big nerf, but it's justified, trust me, I'll explain. When Tremor is interrupted by an attack, he now has a 10-second cooldown. It used to be 3. Yeah, that's a pretty big nerf, but deserved, because Tremor could interrupt things that he's not supposed to be able to, yet he would get hit, and now if he gets hit, there's that 10-second cooldown. For anyone not aware, Tremor is the best cameo in the game right now. Well, maybe not right now, but before this update, Tremor was the best cameo hands down. Alright everyone, and there you have it. The cameos heroes got way more attention than the main characters in my opinion. I'm hoping the next and possibly final update for Mortal Kombat 1 will bring some new attacks for certain characters like Omni-Man, Peacemaker, maybe even Tanya. I think she deserves a command grab, I'm gonna say it. But yeah, overall I don't think this patch was bad, but it was disappointing and tons of people are mad online right now. They are sad about this update. And honestly, it's kind of NetherRealm's fault because they said it would be an exciting update, not just buffs for the mid tiers and nerfs for the top tiers. But hey, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. How do you feel about this update? And leave a like if you enjoyed today's video. Finally, finish that combo by subscribing and ringing that bell so you never miss any future videos. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.